Hey guys, Clawwolf here, and I am back with another tutorial. Finally, I know it's been a while. I've been busy with a tournament thing that I've been working on, but this is a tutorial that I believe a lot of you will enjoy. I don't know if it's been requested, I can't remember. This is, as the title suggests, basically creating functions, turning command blocks into functions. So we're just going to be looking at basically turning some kind of creation or some kind of thing into a function. Now, I think I had something over here. Perfect, perfect. Okay. I wanted to do this before, but I'm going to take this one command creation I made of grappling hooks, turn it into a function with you guys as an example after we go over the general of how to do it. Now, it's not too complicated, and also if you're watching this from 1.13, I will have another video as soon as 1.13 comes out, so I'm pretty sure if you're watching this while 1.13, at least even the snapshot. When the snapshot, by the time the snapshot is out, I will have another video on the channel that is converting execute to the 1.13 new commands, which I already know how to do it. I'm just not doing it because there's no snapshot for me to look at yet. But anyway, so everything I'm saying here still applies. Just whenever you see execute, it has to be something different. It has to be updated to 1.13. But this is in 1.12 how to turn your command block creations into functions. And hopefully after turning some of your command block creations into functions, you'll start using functions just from the start, not starting with command blocks, just starting with doing functions. And maybe you'll learn a couple tricks here and there. Anyway, so let's get right into it. So to create a new function, you're going to go into your world save. This is a new world. We're going to go into data, and we're going to go into functions. I have a bunch of folders here, but you can ignore these. We are going to create a new folder, and we'll call it test, okay? Inside the test folder, you can have all the stuff you want. Now, if you want to get more organized, you can put a folder within a folder. So, but let's just start with this. So we're going to create a new file, make it a text document, call it test, okay? This is just a basic to show you guys how to set up something here. Change it to all files when you save it as test, and then when you change it to all files, add the .mc function extension to the end. So now you should get another file. Yours will show a notepad, but I am using something called Sublime Text, which you can get. It's free, but it's really nice for working on functions. As you can see from here, it gives you a nice blank screen for you to type, and it looks a lot better than a notepad. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to test this function. So in the function, how the function works is you can't do slashes, but other than that, each line is going to be another command it runs in order from top to bottom in a really fast time. So we're going to make it say test, okay? Now you save it with control save, and then you can type slash reload, and you do slash function, right? The name of the file, the folder, and then the colon, and then the name of the file. Test colon test. It'll say one command executed test colon test, Clawwolf says test, okay? The reason why it says Clawwolf says test, and sorry about that, is because when you do slash say, check this out, slash say test, it'll say Clawwolf test, okay? The reason why it does that is because slash say says the text from the player that executes it. So if you do slash say in a command block, slash say test, notice how it shows up as bracket at bracket, which means a command block did it, test. Now if I do it from this function, it says my name test, because I am the one who did these commands, because function makes the commands in the function play at the player, which is something important to know. So if I do give say hi at S is a new selector they added to say this player specifically. I have another video on explaining at S. It's really simple, but it's basically like if you have an app, it's like doing an app P, but it works for any entity, which is really, really useful. So now we're going to go into how to get this to work. So what I like to do, and this helps with bug testing, these are just, it's going to sound like a bunch of tips, but trust me, it gets somewhere. So what I like to do, I like to take it apart and make it into a bunch of steps. So I'm going to do scoreboard players add a test 1. Then now normally pretend these are command blocks. You would do execute at a score underscore test underscore min equals 1. And what we're doing right now is we're creating a clock on a test score to say test every second instead of just once. So and you would do this in commands too. You would do one command block that says adding 1 to the test score, one command block that says execute at a with at least 20 on the test score, say hi test, okay? And then you would need 1 to reset the score. So scoreboard players set. Everybody that has this, test 0. Okay, this will work. Check this out. You can do this. It works. It's good. Slash reload. What you're going to want to do is probably add the objective. Everything works fine. Now, if you want a function to repeat, you can either at the end add something that plays the function again. So function test colon test. But that's not something I suggest. I suggest what you do is you can do that, but it'll make things really laggy. I suggest what you do is do function like in a command block test colon test, and then you make the command block repeating. Just for now, we're going to be using this and do that. So now it's saying test every second. Test, 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 test. But one thing that I like to do, which makes everything look cleaner, is notice how we did all this stuff, right? Now, essentially what we're doing is we're checking if anybody has at least 20 on the test score 2 times. We're checking if anyone has 20 on the test score twice here, which is dumb. We can fix this. We can make it only check once. And how we can do that is we can get rid of all this, just copy these commands. We only want it to check 1 time, which will save on lag eventually if you do a bunch of these. So instead of doing it, we are going to play a second function, which will be called test colon say. Okay, so now we only have 2 commands here. It only checks if everyone has at least 20 1 time, not twice. And then we are going to rename this to say. In the say command, we are going to say test. I need to retype it, and then scoreboard players set at s test 0. Check that out. So this makes it look cleaner. Check it out. So our main function, it's adding 1 to test, checks if anybody has at least test 20 of min equals 20, and it's checking that 1 time, just once, and then it is playing this function. Now, the good thing about this is it checks if they have it 1 time, and then it's going to do anything that I put in this folder. So I put a bunch of stuff. I can do say 1, say 2. I can make it say all the way to 100. It'll only play these commands once they meet this first requirement. As compared to if you wanted to do a similar thing to this in a 1 command creation, you would have to have something looking like this. You would have to test if they have 20, say hi. Test if they have 20, say 2. Test if they have 20, say 3. And you would have to list it out in a long line. But now you can just save it under a file, all the things you want to happen. So effectively, instead of having 3 commands running constantly, now we only have 2 commands running constantly. And it will do the same thing. It will say test once every second, just as before. Works the same, but less things are running. More efficient, better overall for the whole system. So I hope that kind of gave you a little preview into what we're going to be doing here, because we are going to be turning the grappling hook that I did in 1 command into functions, which will be really awesome, really great. I'm doing all these great hand signals, I just noticed, but whatever. And then just one more thing to note, if you want to get even more specific to save on space, you can do, if you want to be more organized because you're OCD or something, that is a thing, you can go and have another subset of folder, and for each subset, you don't put another colon, you do slash, here, let me specify it. Let's go here. Okay, so since we want to play the say file, which is inside the say folder, we just do say and then slash say. So if you have a folder within a folder, you put folder, the original folder in your functions, colon, then the new subfolder, and then slash, and then the name of the file. So you can put folders within folders and it'll still work. Let me save it and show you guys just that the thing still works. There you go. Still works. You can put folders within folders, which can make really useful organization patterns and more organized things. So that, I hope, was a good little preview. I will have a link to a .zip file of the test if you really want it, but it's really simple. stuff that you can do along with me, but we are going to get into the meat of this video. Hopefully this will be useful to you guys. So here we have a simple one command creation. It's realistic grappling hooks. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 3, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 20, 22 commands, not too many commands. I don't think it's that complicated, but it shouldn't be hard for us to do this. So first we have to think, what do we want constantly running? So let's do the first step. Grapple hooks. Create a new folder. Whew, easy step. Now I like to copy one of these files and bring it into here so that I don't have to do the whole save thing. And now I have a function file in the folder I can just copy and paste. So I like to name the one that's going to constantly be running either main. I do general. Some people do main. It's really specific to the person. I like general. So here's general, so what I want happening in general. So we are definitely going to want to tag, and the first step that I would do is basically just to take everything that's in here and just paste it into one thing so you can manipulate it. So let's go ahead and just do that anyways. Let's just grab all the commands on their own so we can, oh, whatever, we already copied it. So we can look at it. Actually, I want that back there so you guys can see just how legit this is. So at the end, I'll show you guys that it works, how it works with the functions, how it works with without the functions. Okay, so there we go. So we're just going to go through and copy all of our one commands. Now this could be tedious if you have a huge one command creation, but you'll eventually get into the flow of it. I kind of got used to doing this because when you create one command creations, you have to, and a lot of times I would create them in the command blocks, so I would have to do this very same thing when I want to use a generator, because the generators need to use it in a notepad style. So I would have to do the same thing. So it's a lot of grind work, but eventually we will get to the point where it will all be in there. And you'll also notice that we have these slashes, which slashes should not be in the files at all. You can just disregard slashes, otherwise your file won't work. If you have a slash, if your file does not do anything when you run the function, chances are you have a slash in there somewhere, or you typed a command wrong. So if you're playing a function and you're like, why isn't it running? That's because you have a slash, or you typed like slash execute with 2 C's or something weird like that. So now that we have all of everything in here. Okay, so right off the bat, you want to look for slash execute. Now, if you're in 1.13, you're going to look for something called slash as, but don't worry about that right now if you're not in 1.13. It's not out yet. But you're going to look for slash execute. Where can I save on space? And you can always save on space with slash execute. Okay? So right off the bat, I can see grab hook. Okay, so what this is doing, so it's tagging a player if they are holding the grappling hook. That's fine, we can keep it constantly tagging the player. Now, something else it's doing is it's also constantly tagging nearby unknown, which is nearby fishing rod heads with a tag so that it knows that that's not just a regular fishing rod head. So that can always run, that's fine. But now we have a bunch of things that are happening here. So what we want to do is we want to save space. So we are going to just create a copy of this general, call this hook detect, since we are effectively, what it's doing is it's detecting the player. So this is all good. We're going to just get rid of everything we have here, I think. Okay, yeah, we're going to just get rid of everything here. Okay, boom, good. Now we can change this from @e because this is going to be played. This function that we're putting here is going to be played only at the grappling hook head, which the grappling hook head, if you do @s, then it will only do these things at the head. So this is just going to be checking for like playing effects just slightly over from where it is. Now in 1.13, this is just a hot topic to talk about. You wouldn't be using execute, you would just be using offset, but that's just a side note. I like to get rid of these slashes so I don't give myself anxiety either. But there you go. So this is going to be what we want to happen at the grappling hook. Okay, no matter what, this is happening at the grappling hook. So now we can get rid of all this because we just moved it, and we can do execute at the grappling hook, then do function grapple hooks colon hook detect. We'll just call it hook detect. It's not really detecting. So now at the grappling hook. So if something gets tagged with a grappling hook by the player, it is going to play this function here, which will do these four. So that already just cut down some commands. We're good. We're cutting things down, making it more simple. That's just the point of functions. It's a lot of at s and a lot of making things simple. Score players tag grab hook sets at a tag equals grab hook add 0. So what we're doing here is we're setting up a thing. Let me find grab time. I think this is, yeah, grab time is something I added in on accident. You can get, I don't need it here. That's just a side note. I was going to, it was for a function, a thing that I was going to do, but I decided not to. So anyway, so this is setting up, as you can see here, this is a detection system. So what this system is supposed to do is it resets your score, then it sets your score depending on how many air blocks are around the player, and if there is less than 4 air blocks around the player, it gives them levitation. If there's less than 4 air blocks and they're within the radius of the grappling hook. So we can actually move all this into a separate file again. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a copy again of this general. We are going to call this player air. Inside player air, we'll get rid of all this. Okay, and then we will get rid of all of at least up to here. At least up to there. This one too. Okay, so now we can change all of these from execute at A to execute at S, okay? Just like before. Change it. I'm only keeping the, normally you can just get rid of all the execute and just do the command normally, but I have to make it still have the execute command because what we're doing is we're also, see these tildes, we're using these offsets in the detect score, the detect command, so we have to use it. There you go. So this is at a, oh, and then if you see here, see what I did here? It used to be at a radius equals 0. At a radius equals 0 is the same as at s. So just do at s. Actually, it's at s is better than at a radius equals 0 because it'll have issues if you teleport players to each other. If you're in the same block, at a radius equals 0, we'll pick both players. Okay, so there you go, at s. Boom. So, and then you can change this to at s. Score player set at s air grab. You don't even have to check for the tag. Air grab 0. So this will just make everything really simple. You're assuming that since it's playing this function, they already have the tag of grapple hook because it wouldn't play it if they didn't. So you can get rid of all those. There you go. And all those. So it doesn't check for tags anymore. More efficient. So go back into here, see what you got rid of. We got rid of all this stuff. So we're going to play a function. It is going to be function grapple hook. I'm trying to figure out where this is. Grapple hooks, colon, player air. So this is going to check for the air if there is a player that is using the grappling hook, which is good. So now we just cut that down even more. Just chop it up. Now we only have 4 commands here. And these are commands that will constantly run. So we only have 4 constantly running. Next up, we have giving players grappling hook if they're below the grappling hook. So check this out. So we're executing at the grappling hook again and giving an effect. Why don't we move this into the hook detect as well? Isn't that cool? We can move it here because this command is constantly being run. Like all these commands that are here are constantly being run at the grappling hook, no matter what, when it's spawned. So that one also needs to play inside there. So we just move it in. This is removing the player's tag, so we can leave that here. And then these are doing some other stuff. So this is really the core of the whole machine itself. And if we wanted to get even more picky, since this is executing at anyone that is tagged grappling hook, and this is executing at anyone tagged grappling hook, we can just grab this and move it into here as well. Just have these play when a player is using the grappling hook. And I would like to move this like that. There you go. How does that look? That looks, in my opinion, that looks really great. So that's really aesthetically pleasing. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 commands constantly running, as opposed to however many were running before for this. It was like 15. So much more pleasing to the eye and so much more easy to look at. Now next up we have all these items things. So this is going to have to constantly run because it's just scoreboard. Here we have an execute. Execute at the stick, execute at the string, execute at the hook, and then summon this item. So that's fine. But here's where we have it. Execute grap 2. We can cut this down. So let's copy the general again. Rename this to grap hook 2. And we can just get rid of all this good stuff from here. See how we have the execute happening? We can get rid of everything that is execute and just play all these commands like so. So now they won't constantly run and constantly check. So we can get rid of that and do function grapple hooks colon grap hook 2. There you go. So the real moment of truth is if this works. So I don't know if we have all the scoreboard objectives list. Oh god. Scoreboard objectives display sidebar grap hook grap air. Oh, I can't see anything. Air grap. Yeah, we do have that scoreboard. Okay, so we need, what was it? Where was it? We need a string, 3 sticks, and a tripwire hook. So let's now, if we want to test this without having to use a command block, like we were doing before, we're just going to do game rule, game loop function, grapple hook, slash reload. Game rule, game loop function, grapple hooks colon general. Boom. Nothing broken yet. So we are going to grab ourselves 3 sticks. Was it, how many strings? A string and a tripwire hook. And drop them into the same block. Okay, so this is something that wasn't working before, so I don't know. Let's test, I think. Okay, so it added it. And then that added the string. It could be the sticks. There's something wrong happening here, and somebody else. Okay, so it added the stick. Oh, here it is. Okay, found the bug. It's because the lore is not updated to have double quotations. In this, why is it doing this? Don't give me a second one. In this, you need really strict JSON. So the open brackets, if you have open and closed brackets and you have some text, it needs to have the quotes. So if I do reload, that will give us the grappling hook like we should. And now we can check it out. So let's grab ourselves a vertical pillar, and let's go up to the pillar. Oh my gosh, see, look, we're levitating up just like the grappling hook was intended to. Same idea. We grapple onto the edge, go up to the edge, and we climb up the wall. Boom. Now I want to show you guys just how much this is the same as the one command that we just transformed. Look at this. I'm gonna show you, I just am doing this to show you guys that we just transformed a one command into a less laggy version of the one command, just to make it more efficient. So we're gonna drop that, and drop that, and then I have to edit this file right here to have the quotations in the lore. If you have something not working that has to do with items, make sure you check that lore. So quotations with the lore, and we have the grappling hook. Now if I grab the grappling hook and I shoot it down here and we walk against the wall, it does the exact same thing as our function. So I hope that wasn't a big headache for you guys. I feel like the main thing that you should get out of this is that when you're working with functions, what you need to do is, if you're trying to transform a one command go from commands to functions. Anytime you just copy all the commands into the one function file, just look at everything all together, slowly go through it. Wherever you see a bunch of the same executes over and over again, you can turn those into a separate file to only use one execute and then play all the commands you want. That's one of the best parts about function. That's one of the main things that you need to look at and really focus on. This video was probably very long, no cuts, so I'm sorry about that, but if this was really useful to you, I really hope that you can take this into your creations or maybe in the tournament that is going on while I make this video and make something more efficient, make something less laggy, make something look nice, and functions are just really good once you get used to them. If you guys want me to do any other types of videos, just leave a comment in the description on the newest, leave a comment on the newest video because the more of you that there are, the harder it is for me. I'm not getting updates on comments as often. I have to go to my actual comments section on the YouTube to see your guys' comments because it's not telling me that you guys are commenting. So if you comment on an old video or reply to someone on an old video, I probably won't even see it. So leave a comment on my newest video and I will check it out as soon as possible. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Hope this tutorial was useful and I'll catch you all later. Peace.